Well, happy March, guys.
Yeah. It's only 9 days till your birthday.
Yeah. I'll be 23 this year, so
Yeah. So I
That's
do
impressive.
want to
It's a
I do want
rough
to start off
23.
this. I want to start off this episode with a shout out because well, I'll explain it to you off air. But Peyton, hi, buddy. Wanted to say hi to you. Peyton's my nephew that I've been raising since he was a little baby. And so I wanted to say hi to him and give him a little shout out at the beginning of the show. Because apparently he's been riding around the neighborhood playing our show on speakerphone on his bike.
nice.
So he's trying to spread the.
We got a groundswell. I like it. We got a groundswell,
We've
like
got a street team.
yeah, root movement. I like it. I like it
He's
a
our
lot.
one listener.
Yeah, he's the one listener.
I like it.
So,
No, that's awesome.
yeah, but it's been, dude. There's been some stuff has happened since we last recorded.
Yeah. Hey, we got it. We got to address this one first. Virgil.
Yeah,
Gotta talk
Virgil.
about Virgil.
Virgil, we didn't even get him on our podcast.
That was the one guy I thought we could possibly get.
Yeah, and we lost. What's his name? Richard Lewis.
Yeah. That was yesterday. That came out, right? That he had passed.
Yep.
Or yesterday. Yeah. Because he was. Let's see. Gosh, how old was he?
He was in the 70s, right?
Yeah, 70, 76. It was a couple days ago. Yeah, 76. He had a pretty great career. I mean, really, all over the place. Yeah, it's kind of that's kind of a shame. I mean, but he was in some classic Mel Brooks films, and did some other stuff. But just a good comedian.
Yeah.
I saw him all over the place, all over the years. Late night stand-ups, whatever, and yeah, no,
Just goes to show that the world's not fair. Richard Lewis dies, and Rob Schneider's still kicking.
I was going to say how I don't know what you guys for Richard Lewis. For me, I mean, I usually just Robin Hood Men in Tights. That's kind of what I usually
Yep.
associate him with is Prince John. I don't know, other than the stand-ups and stuff, that I really associate him with anything else other than that role.
Yeah, that's
it's kind of an iconic role for a goofy, slapsticky Mel Brooksy movie. I just associate him with that. It's actually kind of an iconic role for him. I mean,
oh yeah. And speaking of those type of movies, did you guys happen to see that they've announced they're going to start remaking the Naked Gun movies?
I saw a meme on that, but was that legit?
It's legit. You know who's starring in it?
No, that's not right.
Do you know who's starring in it?
That is real.
Liam Neeson.
I do. Yeah.
Who is it?
Liam Neeson, the guy from Taken. I will find you, and I will kill you. Yeah,
I guess I could have see it.
Was it Ted 2? One of the Teds, he did a little comedic part. Is this serial really for kids?
I don't know. I didn't see Ted 2. I own it, but I have not yet watched it.
I guess I could see it on the sheer fact of because he's portrayed as such a serious actor. And get me okay. Correct me if I'm wrong here. I know Leslie Nielsen had a long career as a comedian, but wasn't he a serious actor prior to
actually just about to say that he was the only thing I could think of off the top of my head was he was the star of Forbidden Planet.
Yeah, that's right. Let's see here.
And I only know Forbidden Planet from the late night movie show song from Rocky Horror.
Yeah.
Science fiction double feature. There we go.
I was going to pull his filmography real quick. Yeah, I mean, Forbidden Planet, which is actually one of his first movies. That was his first starring role. He's Battle of Gettysburg. He was a narrator. If you go through some of these films, are obviously just fairly serious things. And Poseidon Adventure, that's right. Yeah, I forget he was in that.
Oh shit, was he?
Yeah, 1972, the original, obviously.
I know this isn't his serious roles, but I did just download the Police Story. Is that what they're called? The things that Naked Gun were based off of.
Oh,
Yeah, I think it's Police Story.
was it Police Story or was it Police Force?
Police Squad.
Police Squad.
That's where. That's right. I forget. See, I remember him. He was on a couple of episodes of Alfred Hitchcock, and I watched a lot of those back in the day. Alfred Hitchcock Presents. I don't know if you guys remember those.
Yeah.
They ran in reruns when we were younger. My parents were big fans, so I remember seeing that. I always thought it was good because I always associate Leslie Nielsen with Airplane, which, according to Wikipedia, was actually his first true comedy role. So, yeah, I mean, Liam Neeson's probably not a far stretch then.
Yeah. Well,
I think it was there was an Alfred Hitchcock's Presents called Man from the South. Just Man from the South. Okay. It starred Peter Lorre and Steve McQueen. I know we're going off on a tangent now. But Steve McQueen's gambling in some casino somewhere, and Peter Lorre, all creepy, comes up to him and says that he likes to gamble too. And he sees Steve McQueen has a Zippo lighter that he keeps lighting. He goes, "That's a good lighter. I light every time." He goes, "Yeah, it does. Every time I do it, he lights." Like, I bet you my car.
Yeah.
And what do I have to bet? If you lose, get it off your finger. And there's this really cool scene where he's flipping the lighter and you have Steve McQueen holding a cleaver up in his head, and Peter holding the cleaver up, smiling every time he goes to flip the thing. And at the end of it, his wife comes in and says, "He can't bet the car against you. He doesn't own the car. He doesn't own anything." And it switches over to her fingers, and she's like got 2 fingers left because she won all the bets against. It was a good show.
Yeah, some of those
I love Steve McQueen and Peter Lorre, so it was just a great episode.
Yeah, and some of those Alfred Hitchcock ones are they're good. I mean, they're dark and they're simple too, and it's in a way that they very psychological. I don't know. They're fun to watch.
Speaking of older stuff that's getting remakes or sequels or whatnot, we got two sequels coming out. One of which is a new Karate Kid movie, which is going to be basically a continuation and a joining of the original Karate Kid series and the new one, where Jackie Chan's character is going to be in it and Ralph Macchio is going to be in it. And then
the new Karate Kid movies did not take place in Japan. They took place in China, so they were not doing karate.
Right. No, they were doing kung fu or some shit.
Yeah, but kung fu or whatever.
Yeah. But the new one is also going to be a kid from China. And so it's Ralph Macchio and Jackie Chan and then this Chinese kid, and that's how they're going to bring it together. So whatever. Yeah. I have no interest in it. I lost interest after the original ones. The last one I liked.
I only saw the first 2 seasons of it, but that Cobra Kai show is really good. It's surprisingly good. Like this first season was like a YouTube show. Like this was way better than it had any right to be. And now it's had like 6 seasons or something, so it just tells you how good it is.
Oh shit. Well, maybe that one's decent, but I've got no.
Right, well, not from Joey, the Lawrence. I forget the guy's name. It's Billy Zabka's, like the main guy.
Nice.
Yeah. I guess that's how you get a new movie. It's based on the success of the show. So.
Yeah. And then we're getting, which I was super stoked at first, and then I realized who it was. We're getting a new Tron movie. And the only name that I've seen attached to it that I recognize is Jared Leto. And so it's going to be, it's called Tron Ares. And Jared Leto's character's name is Ares. And he's got a triangular identity disc that says Dillinger Enterprises on it. And I don't know, man. No, Jeff Bridges.
Gillian Anderson.
Who?
Gillian Anderson. He was the redhead from X-Files.
Oh,
I can't
yeah.
think of the character name. And Cameron Monaghan, who was like the Joker character in that
In Gotham.
Batman show. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. Well, yeah, but I mean, like, I'm saying as far as from any of the other...
Oh, other Trons, yeah.
Yeah, so I'm just concerned because number one, and look, I love Tron 1, I love Tron Legacy, but part of Tron Legacy being so good was that Bruce Boxleiter was in it, and you know, you had characters from the old one. You had Jeff Bridges in it. You had like the actual connection. And I'm not gonna lie, the fucking Daft Punk soundtrack slapped. That shit was good.
You also had young Jeff Bridges in early de-aging technology.
Which was weird. But
yeah, it wasn't good.
Still, I still liked it. Like,
Olivia Wilde as a real person created in the Matrix for Tron world.
Yeah. Like I loved the first Tron. I love the second Tron. But my problem with the third one is it doesn't look like it's going to have that much of a connection to the other ones. And Jared Leto fucks up everything that he's in.
I was just going to say, there was one, he was in Blade Runner 2049. Is that what it was called?
2049, yeah.
Numbers are hard. And that wasn't horrible.
Well, that wasn't bad. And then he was in a movie with Nicolas Cage called War Dogs. And that wasn't bad either.
Wasn't he also in Fight Club?
Yeah, his best role's in Fight Club. Yeah.
Wait, he was in Fight Club. I forgot.
Yeah, and the best part about it was that he absolutely gets the crap kicked out of him.
That wasn't an
he's the old I felt like destroying something beautiful. Yeah.
Like, and look, I like 30 Seconds to Mars. I think they're a pretty good band, but I'm not a fan of Jared Leto.
He's in a ton of different movies because he's also he's in American Psycho. He's in Requiem for a Dream, which are two of my favorites. He's in
and he gave us the best Joker of all time.
Oh yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, we gotta go with The Crow. Speaking of, have you guys seen any of the shit from Bill Skarsgård dressed up as The Crow?
No, I just know he was in it. That's all I know about The Crow.
No. So Bill Skarsgård, speaking of the Joker and how fucked up that shitty ass Joker was. So look up the Crow, Bill Skarsgård, and look at his character.
Yeah, I'm looking at that now.
I just want to say that we've got Edward Furlong as a Crow. We've had made-for-TV Crow series. I don't care how fucked up he looks in this. It's still going to be not the worst thing that ever happened to the Crow.
That's true. Well, here's the thing, though, and this is
Edward Furlong. Just going to throw that out there again.
This version of the Crow, this isn't Eric Draven. This is an entirely different character, but they're portraying him in the movie as if he's Eric Draven. So, because if you look, this one is from Crow. It's called like the Crow Wasteland or something like that. I forget what the name of the series was, but this isn't. They're taking a different character and calling him Eric Draven, and this is legit, like beat for beat what that character looked like. So he's 100% true to the comic, but he's not. That's not Eric Draven. It's a completely different character.
I'm looking at the Bill Skarsgård screen, and the only thing that comes to my mind is Finn Balor, and somewhere in the mix got caught in between himself and the demon and just stopped doing the makeup. Because throwing the leather jacket up, like, it has that very Jared Leto Joker-ish look to it. But yeah, he has the leather jacket just screams Finn Balor to me, and the hair, because the hair is like that short, dark.
It's some point in the early 2000s, I went to a horror convention to see James O'Barr, and he was late showing up because he got into a car accident the day before, something like that. I forget exactly what happened. He was late showing up, so I just kind of had to wait for him to, show. This is one of the main reasons why I went there. I had the first Crow comics, and I got them all signed. Very cool. Anyway, when he finally showed up, I didn't know it was him. I was expecting a guy-looking guy, and James O'Barr is not a goth. He looked like a truck driver with greasy long hair and glasses. He almost looked like a Stephen King-ish type character. But he was very cool.
Had like the square rims.
Yeah, he had just weird glasses. Like I said, the hair was a little long and maybe a little greasy. But he seemed very cool. Just old and beat, just tired. He's very tired looking. Like, okay. And then a couple years later, I went to New York Comic Con, and I got to see Jonan Vasquez, the guy that did Invader Zim, and Johnny the Homicidal Maniac. Now he looks exactly like how you would expect him to look. Looks like a super skinny, goth, nerdy Mexican guy. I think he's Mexican. Vasquez.
No, he's Cuban.
Okay, he was cool.
Yeah, no, I love his stuff, man.
And he lived up to my gothy expectation. James O'Barr, not quite as much, but James O'Barr was still cool. I got a sketch from him in a sketchbook over there somewhere.
Nice.
It was like my first piece of comic book art, I guess.
Oh, that's cool.
It's like, you do sketches? It's like, yeah. Like, well, how much? Well, how much do you have to spend? Like, well, I guess if I had to, I could spend this. He goes, I could do that. Like, all right.
No.
Yeah.
Speaking of the Crow, I think we'd be remiss to say, as we record this, we are on the footsteps of Sting.
Oh, wait, right before that. The Crow is coming for a Blu-ray next month because of all this stuff. So I have it on pre-order.
Nice.
Oh, cool.
I watch it. I watch it every day before Halloween. Every year, because that's when it takes place.
I've never seen The Crow.
Oh, you got to come over Florida, and I have it on Blu-rai right now. It's as best as we can do. It's got Ernie Hudson. Bai Ling is one of the main villainesses, and then one of the main bad guys is Luther from the Warriors. Warriors come out to play he was like the bad guy in a lot of 80s stuff. He was in this too.
Yeah, no, we gotta
Ric Flair.
Yeah, we gotta say this. Yeah, so first of all, yeah, Rich, I know I watched the after you had you threw some text to Bob and I about Ric Flair and Sting and the Young Bucks and all that, and man, Flair just, my God,
dude, get him fuck out.
He's got that woo energy drink going through his veins. That's the only thing keeping him standing right now, I think.
Yeah, dude, look, we all know wrestling is predetermined. We all know that it's, it's a sport, but it's the outcomes are predetermined. That said, we all have our suspension of disbelief in the ring, but I can't buy Ric Flair looking like Mr. Burns in there. Like, I'm sure his arm snapped at some point.
Like I said, first of all, he's 75. I wanted to make sure look at his age again. 75 years old. How is your man? Isn't this man like up there too?
He's like 77.
He's pushing 80. Yeah.
He's older than Ric Flair in a much better shape. But anyway, Ric Flair walks out to the ring, and they have to show his whole walk from the the entrance to the ring, and that took way too long. And he's shuffling like, that was rough. Then he climbs into the ring, which was a little scary, and he proceeds to slap. What's his face?
One of the Jacksons.
Nick or Matt, one of the two. Yeah.
Who isn't that big, but compared to a 75-year-old Ric Flair, he looked huge. And good on Nick Jackson. He sold the slap, and the other Jackson brother came up and nut-shotted.
The worst looking. Yes. I mean, I know he had a lot of diaper under there that he had to avoid.
Oh no, he was protecting Ric Flair. You could tell, he was nowhere near his testicles, and he was so slow when he came up with his arm. You almost felt like they were supposed to move the camera at the time and didn't. So you got this. That was horrible.
just looked like he was like, it was
Ric
fucking
Flair,
terrible.
he's gonna, and this may be his goal, but he's gonna die in that ring.
Oh
Like
yeah,
Terry
Yeah.
Funk, Terry Funk will retire at some point. But what's his face? Sabu retired. He hasn't in the ring thing. Like he did a little bit of running. Poor RVD. RVD is doing his best. He's still okay. He had a match a couple of weeks ago, and he tried to do that thing where he jumps from the inside of the ring to the top rope, and he missed it. And I was like, oh, maybe you just did it a little late in the match. Maybe if you did that earlier, you could have hit it. And then did the worst 5-star frog splash I've ever seen, especially from Rob Van Dam. That was sad.
Yeah, that's the part that kills me. And I've said it on here before, and RVD's one of my all-time favorites. And I, really, obviously, being the longtime ECW fan, grew a fond appreciation of his and followed him all throughout his WWE run and all that. And then, these last several years of anything he's done independence, and then whatever run he's having here in AEW, it's about as bad as whatever Flair is trying to do, and that's a shame.
But I do. Part of me wants to see Ric Flair versus Paul Kane a year from now. I want them both to be older and crippled, and that should be their last match.
Let's just wheel them right into the grave after that.
Yep.
It's just
Hey, speaking of Rob Van Dam and Sabu and ECW, Pac's son is really selling ECW T-shirts now.
don't get me started. So I was Pacific, the old Pacific Sunwear, which has been rebranded to Pac Sun some time ago, right? So I'm scrolling through and I get a lot of wrestling content on my Facebook because obviously,
Sean Whitman's son.
What's that?
Sean Whitman's son.
Oh, Sean
Waltman, yeah.
Whatever.
Close enough.
You know what I meant.
But so I'm scrolling through and I see advertisement for Pacific Sunwear, and it's like, what in the world? So I clicked it, and sure enough, there's wrestling stuff that they're selling. And then I click in. The first thing that caught my eye was an ECW hat, like the style that Paul Lee would wear. And I'm like, what in the world? Like, this can't be legit. What is going on? So I click further through and I start seeing shirts. I'm like, these are like shirts that I had. And sure enough, I found a shirt that I bought like at the arena over 25 years ago. Now it's for sale for $20 through them. I was like, what in the hell is going on? Like, I was so disappointed that like I thought I had something cool. Like, hey, I bought this from the arena, and now it's like just some random thing that people can just buy online. just bothers me. I mean,
I don't blame you. That's I'd be pissed
like
too.
when you see a 9-year-old girl walking around in a Nirvana shirt or Sublime.
Yeah, I mean you're right. I mean it's just weird because I guess because some of the stuff we had, like obviously first run, if you will, right? I mean, we always talk about that sort of thing. It's like, I read this in the first run, or I had the first print, or whatever. And it's kind of like first time it was like, I actually have this in my drawer. And there I see it in front of me for $20. And it's like, are you serious? Like,
a bootleg shirt. It's something somebody bought outside of the arena before you go in there.
yeah, it's to me, it was kind of like what it was. It was like, yeah, you leave the vet or you leave Citizens Bank or Link Financial Field, and you're going, I got the shirt of whoever. I got the shirt of Chase Utley
on the Dallas Star.
Yeah, it's just weird, man. I don't know. I just think it's strange to see like things that I assumed were iconic or even like locally iconic. Like I realized the ECW had a bigger footprint than the Northeast, but when I started really watching it and stuff, like it really didn't. So to me, it was like
at like 3:00 in the morning.
Right. So you had, to me, it was like this locked in thing, and then over time, and I'm sure it's like some partnership that TKO or whoever has. I mean, they have to, right? I mean, it's WWE merchandise. So it's not like
You
they're
got to build up
bootlegging.
just for this McMahon Lesnar stuff.
Yeah, they gotta make up for some lost ground on that one. I don't think old Glazer's doing much these days.
Yeah, I don't think so. I think old Bork Lasers retired to the farm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, Sting.
Yeah. So we're gonna.
Sting.
So we went from the Crow, and I thought that was a great lead in, and then we just did
Yes,
10 minutes of just whatever. No. So like we talked about how Sting makes this appearance here on Dynamite.
Wait. I'm sorry. One more thing. So you bought that ECW thing outside of the arena next to a little table set up with 8x10 pictures with Virgil next to it selling them.
It makes so much sense.
Yes.
So much sense. Huh.
Okay. Now back to Sting.
No, you're probably right. I probably did buy it from Virgil, and that makes me feel even worse now. Oh man.
I'm sorry.
Right in front of Foreman Mills too.
Yes.
Man. So Sting makes his appearance on Dynamite, and I will say this is kind of cool, is that he did the old school drop from the rafters. I think that's pretty neat. I've never been a big Sting fan, but pretty cool.
Before that, you had, there was a pile of people in Sting masks outside of the ring in the first couple of rows, and one of them definitely was Darby Allin.
Yeah,
everything was expected. Like when they were beating up Ric Flair, nobody came out to even before they beat up Ric Flair, when they were beating up Darby Allin, like Sting. It's taken Sting a while to get here. I bet he's coming up from the top. So it was like expected, but it was still
right. And I kind of have a feling that like this is going to end up with like
maybe it's the makeup, but he doesn't look that bad.
No. I mean he's hanging in there. I think that what's going to end up happening though is a la Shawn Michaels, Ric Flair. I'm sorry, super kick. Fall down. Hugs and kisses all around type thing. That's what's going to happen with one of the Jackson boys, and super kicking Sting and walking away with tag titles, and that's the end of the story. I mean it's obvious at this point. There's no other logical conclusion.
The title, so it's got
right. I mean, what's he gonna do? Win them and then just lay the title down? I mean, obviously, this thing is as obvious.
Or they win him, he leaves, and Ric Flair takes over. Ric Flair will be out now.
That would be awesome.
Darby Allin can coffin drop into an actual coffin.
I fucking hope so.
Ric Flair's regular walk to the ring is akin to the length of an Undertaker entrance.
Yeah, and much less cool.
Flair may actually more than Darby Allin though, so that might be make up a little bit.
Dude, maybe you're onto it. Maybe they'll have a casket match.
Ric Flair's diaper weighs more than Darby Allin.
The one good thing, I don't know if you guys have been watching any of this at all, but leading up to it, they've been attacking Darby Allin. And in one of the first episodes where they were coming back from their leave or whatever, they're now executive vice, whatever. They're heels. They're their heel turn. They were wearing white suits. They beat up Sting and Darby Allin, get blood over their suits, and then wrestled in those suits the next couple of matches they had, which was kind of cool. That's Sting and Darby Allin's blood.
Yeah, no,
that was a bad
Tony
Schiavone. Yeah. Whatever.
You tried.
You gave it the old college try.
No, Pop, you're dead on. No, I was sitting there trying not to laugh too hard on that, but Darby Allin does weigh like literally 10 pounds.
And his finishing move is he drops on you. He doesn't jump on top of you. He falls on top of you.
They should call it. I don't even know, the twink topple.
It took out Samoa Joe, and then Joe looks like a pussy.
Samoa Joe, dude. Why Samoa Joe didn't just do the turn and walk away like he does with every other fucking move when people are on the top rope? I'll never understand. But
yeah, and it's so all right, Rich. I don't know if one of the last times we'd recorded, Bob and I kind of got into some disfavor about AEW and kind of where the booking's gone. And I know you were kind of chimed in on it to a point there, but we've talked about it on more than one episode, and that's the one thing that kind of gets me with where they're at is, Rich, I know you brought up the point before with overloaded roster. It's too much talent.
Well, their problem now is all of their big names are injured. Every one of them. And it's like, what? And then they have stupid stables. It's getting. I'm sick of Cyrus. His name isn't Cyrus in this.
Don
Callis. I'm sick of the Don Callis family
Cyrus.
stuff. I'm sick of the Jericho stuff. Let's get rid of all that. I'm sick of the Bang Bang, whatever the fuck it is. And now they teamed up with the Acclaim, killing the Acclaim. Whatever reason. I guess they were hoping the Acclaim would make the Bang Bang Gang rise, or the Bullet Club Gold rise. It's not. It's bringing both of them down even lower. And then the one with Roderick Strong, who I've been watching it for 2 years. Roderick Strong, I guess, was injured that whole time. I have no idea who this guy is, and now you're trying to make him a name in the thing. Maybe he was a name, and it's just I didn't see him before. But it's like he came out of nowhere, and he's like, "Here's our new big guy," with Adam Cole behind him, sitting in a chair with a broken leg.
He was big on the indies and then went to NXT.
I was going to say I never watched NXT.
Yeah, he was.
Apparently everybody in that stable came from an NXT.
Yeah,
stable.
so there was a. So he was.
I guess.
Yeah, Roddy was big on TNA, Messiah the Backbreaker. That's how he came up, and then joined WWE in NXT. And there was a stable called the Undisputed Era. It was Adam Cole, Kyle O'Reilly, Bobby Fish, and Roderick Strong was eventually brought into that fold. And they just ran roughshod all over NXT. That was kind of the role they were given. And then Adam Cole, Kyle O'Reilly, and Bobby Fish all leave for AEW. And Roderick Strong stuck behind, and he was running a group called the Diamond Mine in NXT. And so he was still kind of a very, very like prominent, like let's like to me it was like Dean Malenko. Like he was very all about the art of wrestling, and that's just kind of the group he ran. And so fast forward now to where he's at, like the dude can wrestle. Like I've always been a big fan of his, but it's I kind of agree. It's like he does come out of nowhere at times. I think with the push he's given, based on the fact that he's like 5'7". Like he's not like your prototypical, who you would think of as pro wrestler. I mean, he's just not. I don't know. It's weird with him. I just don't get it.
And I don't want to see Mike Canales and that other guy without Maria, who they have stuck in ROH for whatever reason. Beck.
Mike Bennett and
yeah, him too. And that other guy with the stupid haircut. These kids today and their haircuts.
This says Roderick Strong's 5'10". There ain't no way.
Nah.
I'm 5'10". There's no way. No, it's dude can wrestles ass off. I've always been a fan, but I don't know. I think that's what kind of disappoints me about where AEW was and then where it's at now. And I get it. I get all the injuries and
the injuries have crippled them. I think without the injuries, they'd still be strong, but they lost MJF, they lost Adam Cole, lost. I guess that's where Britt Baker is, because she hasn't been on the show for a long time now.
Yeah, MJF's your generational, and I think that hurts the worst. He's got the ability to carry the entire program, whatever night it decides to air. But that's
the other is, they had names. Dean Ambrose,
Johnson Moxley.
Thank you. Was carrying the company for a while too, and now he's stuck in the Black Combat Club. Lost the whole British thing, so I don't know why they're still calling him the BCC since he's been on forever now. And let's just break them apart. Let him do his thing. Get rid of Eddie Kingston. It was nice when Eddie Kingston was gone in ROH and I had to see him, but now back again. And it's not good.
Yeah, actually, that's kind of funny. Bob and I think we kind of chit-chatted about that. We were kind of curious to see what you really thought. So it's interesting to see, because I know you were, of the three of us, to me, you were more the fan, you know?
Yeah. I'm still watching it, but I'm fast-forwarding a lot.
Yeah,
and
that's never a good sign.
I was debating buying the pay-per-view. I don't know if I am or not, if I'll just download it later after it's... I would like to see Sting's last match, but I think I can wait and watch it the next day.
Yeah,
I'm tempted. I'm recorded SmackDown because I'm almost tempted to watch it just to see the Rock stuff.
it's been good. It's been really good. He had an insult tonight, and I fucking forget what it was, but it was hilarious. He's still gold on the mic. Like, you'll never take that from him. He'll never lose that skill. He's just gold. And throwing him in there, it's you wanted to bring in money for WrestleMania. You wanted people to not talk about Vince McMahon. Perfect way to do it.
Yeah, and it looks like after tonight and the little I've read, don't want to spoil anything, but it looks like they have, in this, I'm going to say spoil anything. I think we all kind of saw it where this is going. Looks like night one of WrestleMania is set up to be Cody and Seth versus The Rock and Roman Reigns. And there's some stipulations that have been added to that apparently. But that would lead into their singles matches respectively at Drew and Seth at night 2 for the WWE title.
Yeah.
And then the world, whatever thing Roman has, him and Cody. And I think the stipulations revolve around that match, dependent upon who wins the tag match. And it sounds like, to me, it's in Philly. And I believe one of the stipulations is if The Rock and Roman Reigns win the tag on night 1, that they have some bloodlines rules match. And to me, that just screams, it's in Philly. Let's have an ECW style main event for WrestleMania 40.
Yep.
I don't know.
It's gonna be fun. Abdul the Butcher's still around. He's 83. He could wrestle Ric Flair.
Jesus.
They have midget wrestling. Why can't we have geriatric wrestling?
You know, it's a good question, I suppose.
And I don't like saying the word midget, but that's what they call it. So I'm going to call it midget wrestling too.
Dude, it's so there's a school that's relatively close to where we're at here, within 2 hours. That is still their mascot. That's their team name. Yes.
The midgets?
Yes. I'm not kidding. I'm completely serious.
In Kentucky.
Yeah, but it's not even. It's in Illinois. That's what's crazier.
Bob's in. No, never mind. I was going to make a Florida joke, and I was going to come up with some sport teams names.
So, did you guys see that? Speaking of Florida and how shitty it is, two Irish friends came over here and they overdosed on fentanyl because somebody like spiked their drinks or whatever with fentanyl, and they both died. And they accidentally cremated the wrong body.
Cremated the body? They coughed them straight.
Yeah, they cremated the wrong body. There's no punchline. It's not a joke. Like, that literally happened. That's a fucking Florida thing.
Yeah, that's unfortunately that's the fentanyl stuff's just bad here too. I mean, it's just not good. Bob, I do have a question I want to throw your way, and we talked off pod about this. Kind of take the gear shift into video games. You've been playing a game that I've been wanting to get my hands on for such a long time, and apparently that's all you do now is play this game. So
yeah,
I need to hear about it.
If I'm not working, I'm pretty much just playing Starfield, and dude, it's so much better than I could have imagined. For all the shit that it got, I'm having a lot of fun with it. And, it's entertaining. There's a lot to do. like I'm not even I'm doing the main mission thing, but I've been getting sidetracked because you're on these giant planets and you can just wander around and find stuff. And part of what you're supposed to do is as you go to each planet, you're supposed to try and find all the different like resources that it has. So like if it has helium gas, you're supposed to find the helium deposits, water deposits, oxygen deposits, whatever. And then whatever minerals, like if it has gold or silver or lead or whatever, you're supposed to find them. And then you're supposed to scan all the different life and like plant life and animal life that's on it. And then you explore and you find like abandoned outposts and stuff. And I've been spending a ton of time just doing that. Like I think I'm only on like the third main mission, but I'm already level 10 just from going around and doing extracurricular shit. It's super fun. I'm having a blast with it. Peyton's having a blast with it. He wants to get an Xbox for himself now because he's played Starfield on my Xbox, and now he's like, well, I guess I want an Xbox now. Like,
Shout out to
right.
Peyton. Fan. Peyton. Woo!
Huh?
So shout out to Peyton, our one fan. Woo!
Yeah.
So he's loving it. I'm loving it. And I got it on sale for $40. So, and they're getting ready to do an update in March. And then I believe soon they're coming out with the DLC, which the fun part about, well, the good part about Starfield for somebody like me that bought it physically and got it at a discount, I can now go digitally buy the special edition content, and so I'm going to end up paying essentially like $60 for the entire game, including like what I would have gotten in the special edition, because you can buy that separately, and I didn't have to pay $100 or whatever the hell it was for the special edition.
Nice. That's a cool thing. Like that's one thing, being a Bethesda game, and I spent hours and hours and hours just like Skyrim with just like wandering around, and then like from what you say, going planet to planet, and I get it. I mean, that's the time suck, but it's a fun time suck. Like you just you get so immersed into just doing like really like almost mundane stuff comparatively, because you're not an exciting mission, you're not doing this, you're not trying to go after this creature or whatever you're doing. I mean, it's just fun to do that. And I that's what I've been doing with I haven't played it in a little while now, but Tears of the Kingdom is I just wander around, and it's just so fun to do that.
I will say the one thing that I miss, that I really wish this game had, and now I find myself wanting it in every game that I play, is the grappling hook from Halo Infinite, because it's just so fun to just go and like basically be Spider-Man and use that to get around everywhere and climb things. Like in Starfield you get boost packs, which are essentially like rocket boosts for your jump. It gives you like a double and triple jump or whatever. So it helps in that aspect, but I really wish I just had a grappling hook.
Yeah,
and I find myself hitting what would be the grappling hook button in Halo Infinite, and like, where's my grappling hook? Where did it go? And then I accidentally throw a grenade and get a giant bounty. Yeah. So there's that. But that's a me issue. That's not the game.
And I kind of hope it does at some point hit PS5. It would be nice. Not really in the cards for me to throw down. That's the only reason why I would grab an Xbox right now, by the way.
Yeah.
So
did you guys happen? Sorry, Rich, go ahead.
I'm going to say I'm like 9 hours in the RoboCop. I do want to finish that eventually. And then last month's PlayStation Plus game was The Outer Wilds, which is a game at Outer Wilds, whichever one's the RPG, and I've been wanting to play that, so I downloaded that.
Nice. Did you guys see the report that came out that says that Nintendo has had the Switch 2 finished since 2022, and they just haven't released it because they're trying to build up their stock. So there's not, and they want twofold. They want to get rid of their existing stock of Switches, and two, they want to make sure that they have enough at the beginning that they want to have enough at launch that it's not like the PS5 and Xbox Series X launch.
I did see that, and it was funny because it made a lot of sense actually. Nintendo historically, with the Switch, whatever, old hardware. So I mean, let's stockpile old hardware. That's what they do. But it's going to be better than the original Switch. So it makes a lot of sense coming from them if that is the truth. But no, I mean, I'm up for it. I'd be curious to see like what the hey, I need a selling point though. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I had seen specs that I had seen were if they put for whatever system on a chip they're using, they had the ability to upgrade it to 16 gigs of RAM. And if they were to do that, they could squeeze Xbox Series S performance out of it.
And that would be that's my curiosity though, is like the software development side of it. So what games are going to be, is it going to be like a new line of games that would not be able to be played on the regular Switch, which, because if there's not, then that obviously is completely moot. Because if my regular Switch can play it with a lesser processor and whatever, then I don't care. That's fine because it can play it. Because I'm not going to notice, there's not going to be any difference other than I know a couple games at launch had really poor performance. We've talked about that on this pod before. But other than that, I mean, if it can play it, I'm not sold. Now, if there's a whole another line of games, then I'd consider it. And the other thing too, I mean, especially for the handheld players, like battery life. Am I going to get like some serious extension of battery life? Because the original Switch was 2-3 hours maybe.
Yeah.
And OLED model is 4, 5, 6 maybe tops. So I would have to have 8, I think.
So the other thing that I've heard is at the low end, it's going to be the performance level of a what's the Steam Deck, and then at the high end, it would be the performance level of a Series S. So okay. Here's my question then. So they're releasing this to be comparative with a Steam Deck or other. Would that be the rationale? I guess I think it's more they realized when and maybe I'm wrong on this, but I know that they've gotten pushback from fans on the performance of Pokemon Legends Arceus, which we talked about before, and Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, which we talked about. And I have played both games. Yeah, there's some graphical stutters in Legends Arceus, but for the most part, really good game. And it's funny, they just announced a new Legends game, and the Legends game is coming out in 2025. They haven't announced a month, but if I were a betting man, I'd say it's going to be a launch title for the Switch 2, which would put it in the March 2025 window, because that's when they're saying the Switch 2. Now, Scarlet and Violet would have greatly benefited from an improved system to run on, an improved platform, because the graphical issues were many, and some of them were pretty bad. And even though with different patches and stuff, they still haven't figured them all out. And there's still a lot of slowdown. There's still a lot of issues with that game. As fun as it is, and as much as I played it, because I bought all the DLC, I played the shit out of that game. But there's definite room for improvement. And I still maintain that had we not had COVID, there would have been a Switch Pro, if you want to call it that. And that's what these games were optimized for. And unfortunately, due to the chip shortages and such, it didn't make sense to go with the Switch Pro route. So they shelved that and started work on the Switch 2. Or the Switch Pro turned into the Switch 2. because of the chip shortage, and they knew it was going to be a prolonged period of time. So these games started development on that system, and then they had to be scaled back a little bit.
I think you're I think you're spot on with your sentiment about the Switch Pro turning into the Switch 2. No, I think you're right. I mean, COVID derailed that. I don't know. I just kind of go back and forth with. I'm hoping that this is designed for, I guess, additional gaming. That's my only thought.
Oh, it will be. It's going to be
stuff that I can't play on my stuff that I cannot play on my Switch or Switch, whatever it's my Switch Lite, whatever. Stuff that I cannot play on my Switches right now, because I need a reason to buy it, and that's the kicker for me. But it's funny though and we've talked about it here before. I need to set it with Arceus and some of these other games that had some like really hang-ups on operability with the Switch. I see that, and then I see all these like insanely fast things with their own stuff as well, with Smash and Mario Kart and some of these other titles that they've really dumped a ton of money into. And it's like, you guys can do this. You can fix it. Like, this isn't like, I just wonder. I really do. I just wonder what the goal is here.
I'll give you your reason to buy the Switch 2 right now. Super Mario World Wonder.
Oh, is that a rumored?
Purely my speculation. But there's a little scuttlebutt that's been out there saying that the next, you look at all the games that they've remade over the years for different systems, different remakes, different remasters. They have never touched Super Mario World. What better way to kick off your Switch 2 than reintroducing one of the most beloved Mario games with a new twist?
Yeah. I don't know.
That's just
Mario Hotel.
Huh?
Mario Hotel.
Well, yeah, obviously the CDI Mario. It's Super Mario Wonder Hotel.
Actually, it's kind of funny. So we had a new game shop open a mile down the road from where I live. Yeah, so I'll have to we'll get into more detail. I stopped in there one day for like 5 minutes because I was waiting for pizza, and Rich, I'm not kidding you. There were some CDI titles on the shelf, which I was surprised. In this area, we don't ever see anything weird, so for us that's weird here. So tucked away in the corner of the shop,
weird stuff, just not weird video game stuff.
Yeah, I was gonna say brothers and sisters fucking. That's normal.
Yeah, no, so tucked away in the corner. Tucked away in the corner of the shop, we had, and I'll kind of explain the Good
night, Daddy.
Good night, bud. That was. All right, just say good night, bud. Why don't you go for it?
Good night.
All right.
Tom.
Good night, Robert and Richard.
I'm gonna
Say
leave
good
that
night to
in there.
Peyton.
Oh, he left.
You're Peyton.
Shout out to Peyton.
What do you want me for?
All right, come here.
Much love.
Come here. All right, say good night, Peyton.
Eat forever.
Good night, Peyton.
All right, go to
Thank
bed.
you.
Love you, bud.
Love you.
All right, so the shop we have here, it's funny. And tucked away in the corner, they've got this really, really, I say small, like maybe 500 item section where, NES games, and then it moves up to Gen, so some SNES and some Genesis. Then you go down bottom, it's like, ooh, I got some Atari cartridges here. This is cool. Then you just start looking around, it's like, CDI, what in the world is going on here? And then just some random stuff. But the thing I like about this place, just from the few minutes I was in there, is that they will do basically anything. So DVDs, Blu-rays, vinyl, Legos, Nerf items, and then it's just video games galore. So like their big thing is they have like shelves and shelves and shelves of 360 games and PS3 titles and that generation. But then they do have other stuff interspersed. And I just thought it was so funny though, because like I looked around and when I saw the CDI stuff, I was like, Rich would love that.
Dude, I'm gonna have to just load up my car and just stuff out of my garage and just bring it up there.
It was crazy because I'm not kidding you, Bob. They had like 15 copies of NFL 2K5, and I was like, "Are you serious? This is awesome."
Oh, we're gonna have to, not on this episode, obviously, but we need to discuss NFL 2K5.
With video games and sports games. I was just listening to another podcast today. Not that I listen to podcasts, and they were talking about the whatever the college football game's called, and how that they're going to be paying the college athletes for their. Did you guys talk about this?
Yeah,
Did you find out?
No, we didn't talk about it. We talked about it through
how much
text.
they're going to pay each of the college athletes to sign up for.
$600.
$600 and $600 and a free copy of the game. So $670.
So
to be fair, it's just for that 1 year, so they can pay for the next year too, another $600.
Yeah, to be fair, if they're in it multiple years, they'll get $600 and a copy of the game for each year they're in it.
And one of the things they did point out in the other podcast is there's a fuck ton of college athletes, as they call them on South Park, college athletes. So if they all sign up, it's going to be like $6 million or something. They have to be something insane like that. So it is a huge cost to whoever's making the game, but still, that's $600 seems like it. But they've already had 5,000 athletes sign up for it. So
yeah, it's crazy. Bob and I were texting about this, and I said, if I was like an athlete that signed into this game that I knew that I wasn't going to have a career, but I was, early on, I'm signing my copy and I'm putting that stuff on eBay.
Yep.
Someone's going to buy that, and you're going to make a killing off of it. So, I mean, why not? Go for it.
Joe Smith, I'm in the game.
Right. Exactly. And then here, the other thing too, is like, then you start, because I said that I said that because like I've not that I'm not collecting, my daughter's collecting cards now, but I see the market and I see that realm again, and it's gotten insane because it's like, well, I have this graded variant of whatever, and obviously we've talked about it here before with graded comics, and now you've got this other thing with graded video games. It's like, I'm sure that you could have some like low line, never going to be an NFL player, signed copy of their game that was handed to them that some dude decided to turn over for grading. I've got a 10 graded signed by blah, blah, blah that played for NC State. And you know what? That $60 game turned into $1,000 real quick.
Well, and I'll bet you too. So back in the day when Madden was first coming out, they would do like, it would have a little stamp, at least the Genesis one would have a little stamp, and it was like first edition, and it was like the very first print run. And then they would have another one that would be like second edition, and it would have a stamp on it, and then everything else after that was whatever. But you can find still the games if you can find them with the fucking cart, with the actual case and everything, where it'll have that little stamp. What if they put a little stamp? They had like a special edition of the cover for the athletes that play. Athletes that play, and they have that little stamp on there, or there's like a little hologram or something, and it's some kind of special numbered edition or something like that.
Yeah, and it's funny you say that. So going back to the trading card stuff, I don't know if you guys are familiar with this, but so the 2024 Topps Baseball Series 1, and this, to my knowledge, the first time they've ever done this, the base set, the first cards that came off the printers, they marked with first card. So every single run every single of the first 330 base cards got marked with a first card if they were the first one off the printers, and they got put in the packs.
Bowman did that first a couple of years ago.
What's that?
Bowman did that?
Bowman did it first a couple of years ago. Like
it's Topps. I mean, they own. Yeah. Actually, Bob and I had an interesting text conversation about that. So I was reading through some stuff, and I'd found that there was no like 1954, 1955 Topps Mickey Mantle cards, because there was this big rivalry between Topps and Bowman back in the 50s. And the rivalry got settled when Topps bought Bowman in 1956 and decided to basically shutter them for 30-something years. Yeah, Topps has owned them since the 50s, and yeah, it's yeah, it was interesting. Now we'll have to get into that. I thought it was a fun read, especially from a collecting standpoint, because it's like, wow, they were salty. Wow. You gentlemen have anything else to chit chat about?
No, I'm about tapped out at this point. Kind of like that guy on Facebook that took that entire shot of beer to the face.